Sorry. There you go.
Hey everybody, welcome back to X's for Show, your favorite media response show, and today we are responding to your favorite people in the world, the least trustables, the faithful of the faithful, the most traitors of the traitors. We're talking Traitors Season 3 Triple Drop. I'm NICO Action. You guys can check me out at NICO Action, NICOACTION, and NICOAction.com.
Do you call them the Uncrustables?
I would, but I feel like Smuckers isn't going to give us the sponsorship I want.
It'd be funny to have the murders be like jam, you stab, and then brought to you by Anyway, I'm TK. You can find me at TK Accidental.
Hi, I'm Jonah. You can find me places at Peak Jonah.
And I'm your producer, KEVO, reminding you that these ideas are not free, so trademark TK, trademark Action Pack, trademark X's for Show. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment so we know what you want us to cover in the future. But yeah, we're super stoked. We've covered Traitors. We did a wrap-up at the end of Season 2 last year, so definitely check that out. I'll pop it in the comments. So we have been so excited to get Season 3 finally started.
You know, it's an amazing thing where Traitors has become kind of like a cultural phenomenon, and part of what it draws on is a cultural phenomenon that people phenom or don't phenom. Like, for me, it's amazing because, like, Janelle,
I was gonna say it's
Danielle,
for you. It's kind of a reunion show too.
Yeah, for me, like, you know, like when we were growing up, there was like Network of the Reality Stars, and like, yeah, Andrew, I wear sleeves sometimes. They're still huge in there. Like, they barely fit, but like it's still sleeves, right? So the main thing for me is, like, I love seeing all of these celebrities come back together, and they're like fake celebrities, not real celebrities, but like the chance to catch up with some of these people is so fucking exciting for me. Danielle is the get of a lifetime. I am so over the moon about Big Brother Season 3, US Big Brother, because for those of you who don't realize, Big Brother had a different format. The European format was the American format when it first came over here. It didn't adapt the American format till slightly into the run. Danielle was the first breakout star.
Yeah, I have the thing that I said to you as I started watching these was I forgot that I have a little less fun right at the start because I don't watch the two biggest gets for this show, which are Big Brother and Survivor. And I feel like they actually ended up for me, Traitors Season 2 especially, I like really was not into it for the first 3 or 4 episodes because of the Survivor Big Brother kind of domination and how a lot of the talk about those shows was a big part of it. For this one, it was more like the first half hour, just of the first episode. And then I felt like they got through it pretty fast. And that fucking dog, I live.
I know.
And it was a little easier to kind of be able to relate. But I do find that that's like right at the get-go, that's an initial value proposition for the show that gets a little bit lost on me, that I find a little frustrating for my own personal experience. But then not even just like because of you guys, but because I'm aware of the phenomenon that these two shows are, and that like there being a phenomenon is the basis of the fact that they could even do this show successfully.
I don't watch Survivor, but I know to hate Boston Rob, and I know to be afraid of Tony. Although Tony,
you do watch Survivor a little bit.
I've seen like 4 seasons. I wouldn't
say I've never seen a whole
Survivor.
season.
I will say though that Tony is looking so out of control chaos men perfect.
Ooh.
Tony, not Boston Rob. Boston Rob.
No, I know.
Like his nickname
Tony
should be Meatball.
Tony, I don't know. He looks
Tony
like
Robbins.
He looks like he wants to hate crime. He looks like hate crimes are a fave of his.
They feel like insider trading.
Insider
trading hate crimes.
We're gonna have to look that up. That's our special.
And they aren't mutually exclusive, at least. So some of them are, P-flag dads who also do insider trading, and that's okay.
Fair, true.
No one said that being an ally makes you a good person.
My only reference for Boston Rob, and it immediately pinged in my head, is 30 Rock, where Jack is naming all the great things about Boston Red Sox, Boston cream pie, Boston Rob Mariano. And that's all I had. That's all I have. But as I said to Nico, that man is on pills, and I would like the pills that he is on.
I swear to God, it's whatever pills were left when CT bounced out.
Kevo, how did you have that locked and loaded?
Oh, Jonah grabbed this one for me. And the fact is, it's especially great when he is underscored with it saying survivor and looking like this. What is he a survivor of? He looks harrowed.
Insider Traitor.
An absolutely wild buffet.
Yeah.
I will say he is a handsome man. I'm being a little funny.
He's
but
handsome, but he also really looks like there were just no available fucks to give in the last 5 years. Like,
I'm gonna be real with you though. His power move at the end of the 3rd episode is one of the greatest moves in the history of Traitors, bar none.
Well,
all he said was, I mean, it was literally the doctor saying, "Doesn't she look tired?"
Yeah,
it was actually genuinely in so many ways. It was shockingly masterful. He was handed a gift, and he took it and ran with it so well.
Yeah. So, audience, should you not wish to be spoiled on this show, we're clearly starting with the big twist at the end of episode 3, which we haven't said enough to really get you, but be sure you are locked in if you're gonna watch from here on out, because we will be saying everything that happened.
We're awful men. We're a spoiler cast. We're gonna say.
No, I mean, come on.
Speaking
Why else would you be here? But
speaking of awful men, Jonah, you haven't rang in yet, and I mean, to be honest, you're here for the Dairy Queen. You are here for the DQ, I assume, because this season has.
This is wild. This is wild.
Bob, Robin. So there's Bob the drag queen, Bob Harper, who, by the way, I just want to be out there. Bob Harper looks the way he looks because he had like several heart attacks and a stroke or something, and like has now decided to commit his life to art and not fitness and not talk to Jill, I assume. So there's Bob the drag queen, Bob Harper, Boston Rob, and then Robin. But Jonah, you're here because this lady is your Price is Right. This is your Price is Right wheel. This is your greatest get a dollar you can get. God, she's just so fabulous no matter what she.
My Price is Right wheel, my Price is Right spokesperson, my Price is Right model, showcase prize. I'm here for Bob. I'm here for Bob. I'm also a little bit here for Danielle
for life.
Some of the Big Brother people, because I've not watched Big Brother, but watched videos about Big Brother and how certain people played, and like how the reason why the way that they played did so well for their season, like the masterful moves they were able to make. So I'm very well aware of like Brittany's legacy, Danielle's legacy. I don't
Do not call it Brittany's legacy. Call it Brittany's dark theft in the night.
This is the rhythm of the night.
Oh my God, my rage.
I don't know any of the Survivor people. Sorry to those men. I don't know you. I've never seen a single episode of Survivor. I know nothing truly about Survivor. I do love the housewives we got. I do love them.
Everyone.
Dorinda? May she rest in peace.
It's so sad. I didn't see this coming. Oh.
You didn't get the chance to say not well, bitch. Also, why is she dressed like Harley Quinn? I'm obsessed. I love her so
This is
much.
Harley Quinn at 60.
Yes, which is what Dorinda is. Dorinda's entire career is, what if Harley Quinn got away from the Joker and was like, fuck this superhero life, I'm doing reality television, and then was just a chaos goblin on all the reality TV that she is a part of.
We never got to see her find her Ivy. Ugh.
It would have been Gabby for sure.
Oh,
she would have been like, I'm gonna be your mommy now.
Gabby, who I love, who she's like, I was a bachelorette and now I'm a lesbian.
Now a lesbian. So you know how that went.
And she's like, we have little alliance called the Bambis because we're all, doe-eyed. And
I kept calling them the boogers because they were acting like snots.
Speaking of lesbians, a wild thing that has not come up yet, Chriselle used to be married to Down Under judge G Flip from this most recent season of Drag Race. Yeah, her with G Flip from like 5 episodes ago on Down Under.
Are you sure?
100% sure.
This is wild.
She was also on Days of Our Lives.
People should go look up who Elliot Gould was married to.
I love
They'll have
hearing
the same
those.
reaction. Wow. Okay. Every time they say her name, I'm like, that bitch is back. Trishelle is back. I'm kidding.
I know it really
Oh.
it gets me every time, but thankfully I've seen just enough Selling Sunset to.
I've seen just enough Selling Sunset to know she's too stupid to like, but I've already fallen in love with her and it's too late.
There's a lot. Sorry, Jenna, go.
I was just gonna say, I love that there's also tangential famous. We have Zac Efron's brother and a guy who was married to Britney Spears.
Hold
I
on.
guess.
TK
Well-
had the best question. Who's gonna
Yeah.
get the Bergie sweatpants moment? And so the question is,
No. I didn't have a question. I had an announcement. and
well, but then you were
5
wrong
minutes later.
instantly.
Exactly.
But
So
the
initially,
question-
I said that Wells would be getting the Bergie sweatpants treatment, and literally within 5 minutes, it was his elimination.
Well, what's really funny for me too is specifically Dylan is the only one, it seems, who has to include his last name. He
Yeah.
can't just be Dylan.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm also the Efron.
you know,
Is Down to Earth the show he's on, or is that just describing him?
It's his
I-
brother's show. The
Yeah,
one
it's
where
like
they
them-
would go
it's
around
them
planet
hanging
Earth
out with like rhesus monkeys.
and like
um,
climbing stuff. Yeah.
Reese's monkeys, like chocolate peanut butter monkeys, or
no,
If-
No,
monkeys
it's
that are
I want
Kevo's
that.
monkeys.
monkeys that are prejudiced against other monkeys.
Oh.
So
Anyway,
Not my
I now think
monkeys.
he's getting the sweatpants moment.
I don't know.
since
So hold on. Is the sweatpants
He
moment
needs
for
a
you?
Romo.
Sexy big dick idiot? Is that the moment you're
Or
looking
is it
for?
It's when you are specifically allowed to get out onto the camera with the sweatpants showing print in a way that is undeniable. It's not the workout moment because he already got the shirtless shower scene.
It's-
And realistically, we're getting a really disgusting one from Sam soon.
Well,
We all know it.
Yeah.
We got
We
a
got,
shower.
we got a,
one,
we got
yeah.
a little one. We're getting a longer one. I
However-
guarantee
oh, yeah.
you.
I'm
as
in
many
love
as they
with
can.
Jeremy. I am outright in love
Yeah,
with
I mean, Jeremy is like an actual beautiful, handsome, like
Well,
man.
So I just want to bring up something that Kevo brought up that affected me really profoundly pretty early on. You know, last season, part of what drew me to this show is my love of network Battle of the Network reality stars, which I didn't get out earlier, but I wanted to say. But we got so excited. I get so excited trying to talk about Traitors. Watching Pep, one of my all-time favorite queens in the history of the show, kind of get what felt like gay bashed, man. It felt so wrong, and it was not the intent, but like there is a sort of natural othering that people do when they're pulled together, and the thing that Pep did wrong was too queer and too black and too not from the same type of show, and so Pep automatically got kebabbed. Like right off the show, she got put on the grill,
Mobbed.
got held to the fire, and then was skewered away. So kebabbed. And so now this season, we see Jeremy, who saw the mistake that some people made last season that affected them when it came to Pep, going out of his way to protect Bob. To see a man of color go out of his way so hard to protect a queer person of color indicates to me a shifting tide on this show that made me happy.
I read it the same way, but just with the cynicism turned up to 100. I felt like producers this time around were like, that looked really ugly and bad for us all around. We can't let that happen again. For one thing, while Peppermint can be really funny when she is comfortable, set with the right people and everything, when she came into Traitors, she was those things.
And literally said, I'm a traitor.
Yeah, and just like it was a mix of things where it was very awkward, and like if it had been anybody else, the setup for the fact that she got pointed to would not have looked as bad as it did. But they also all identified it and pointed it out and like had a conversation about it, which was all good. I mean, it was all good to talk about, but Bob is not Peppermint.
No.
And Bob is, I mean, like, Bob is so great. Bob is anchoring the show for me entirely. Bob's energy is exactly what it feels like an actual, you're muted. But I want to hear that response because I saw the energy.
I said, oh, it's what kept We're Here on the air.
You're terrible. Bob's energy literally to me felt like a response to my doubts about the show. and my problems with it in the first season, and my feeling about like I wasn't 100% sure about watching it again, which is like it is entirely contrivance on purpose. But I don't know. I had a lot of trouble last season reconciling when people would be emotional or when they would talk about murder, or when they would be really serious about the show, and it's a game show and nobody's actually getting murdered. And Bob has all of the right energy to really take the game part of it seriously, but then to also like when he approaches Alan to get his cloak or their cloak, their energy is so like, I am ready. Like they were hamming it up for the camera and for the fact that this isn't serious. It's not real. But then they fight.
It's a set.
Yeah, yes. I mean, like, yeah, like you take some lessons from Drag Race, and she really did. But when they fight at the round table, she's fully ready to fight and have drama that they are supposed to have to make the show interesting. But then as soon as they leave the table, she's back to having a very different energy. And that's really what I need. When Danielle cries, it's very funny because we know that she's lying. But some people are crying and I'm like, you can't be crying here. It's not serious enough to be crying about. We're not doing a real thing. And so I can have you have high emotions and like emotions that are not hammy, but you gotta sell me on them, and the person that's doing it is 100% Bob in a way that like I was at 85% for all of last season, and I was like, okay, but that 15% really was blocking me from loving it. I'm really like, I'm 98% here for it, and Bob is what makes up all of that energy. Just they're absolutely the correct person to be here.
And something that I love about Bob's position in this game and what Bob is bringing to the game as well is how much she
she. I mean, I think it's good with all of them.
Everyone here to bust they. Bob is. I'm not here to bust chops. Bob is fine. Modern family reference. I feel like everything that they are doing with this, from Challenge 1 and now ongoingly, where they keep pointing out like, why are all of these men kind of not really stepping up in this game? It's really weird and weak and cowardly, and they can even say that from this position as a traitor and do more things from the position of a traitor.
Especially with that much vascularity standing behind you. I feel like I could do anything.
Oh my God, yeah.
With how his hotness to being the worst person on Earth ratio is so wild. But
I get it, Brit. I get it.
Yeah,
I get why it happened.
I 100% get the months together, and I get the quick divorce, girl. Live your best life. He and Tom need to be actually murdered. Like Fergus should kill them. But in the meantime, if I say anything else, it's gonna get me put in prison.
Well, so then I'm gonna put the mic in Jonah's hands. Jonah, one of the things I know you love about Bob is that Bob's an educator, and when Bob is like, "Guys, heave ho," because it keeps time. Like, I was mind blown. You've always loved Bob, but you've never loved Bob and I'm saying this honestly, you've never loved Bob on a legitimately competitive show, because I would not refer to Drag Race as competitive. I would refer to it as the whims of a crazy aging fracker. So how do you feel about Bob in a situation where bitch gotta stay calm and girl ain't staying calm so often? This is wild.
I worry that Bob would be getting a thou dost protest too much kind of edit, and I think Bob has smart moves and smart ideas, but I also love how Bob is ready to not back down. But I think that for other competitors, that's going to read a certain way that'll get them caught in their gameplay. But I do believe that if Bob can just pick the battles a little more timely, I think Bob could make it to the end, because Bob is in charge. And in a way, Bob being so loud is kind of almost the ultimate smokescreen of why is someone so loud and so ready to take charge. They wouldn't be a traitor. They're putting a target on themselves.
Oh,
Right.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, like, they clearly are very comfortable with their strategy. And, you know, I mean, even, like, I loved it, but if it had been anybody else besides Bob, I would have hated it. During the second deliberation, when Bob was like, we need to do another housewife, and I'm not accepting any other answers. I didn't even actually necessarily think that was the best strategy. To pick another housewife was the best strategy. And if I had been another traitor in the room, I probably would have argued, like, you don't just get to say you're not going to accept any other answer. Like, we have to talk about this. But as a viewer, as somebody who is a Bob stan, and as somebody who doesn't love all the time where this show goes, to me, that energy and that insistence, I lived for watching it. And, like, I lived for Bob being that person who was just like, no, like, I'm going to do what every dude does when they come on this show and behave as though the world has never said no to me. And for, you know, a Black queer man to do that in a way that's not like Karamo on Queer Eye, but is very much like Bob being Bob, to me was both really powerful, but also endlessly entertaining. Like, somebody making what is potentially a terrible decision, but speaking on it in this way where they're just like, yeah, no, there's no debate here. We're doing what I say. And we're not even going to talk about whether the quality of my decision is good or not. We just simply will be doing it. I love that energy for a show like this.
You know, it's really interesting because I found myself humorously challenged by it.
Yeah.
I want to put this out there really honestly. There was a guy, and he also watched the first season of The Office live when it aired, and went as Jim the October after the show premiered for Halloween. And so I had to have him. And so one of the conditions was he wanted to show me Big Brother. And so we watched a lot of Big Brother. And he showed me a lot of things that I swear to God, I understand people care about roller derby, not this daddy, but I understand people do. But I took away a really big love of Big Brother that, like, I literally brought to KEVO. And Big Brother was so important to me that at one point when we lived in another state, in someone else's home, I was like, look, Big Brother's on, we're watching it. And so, like, this show used to kind of be a thing for me. I'm used to watching Danielle altogether play a smarter game. Danielle does not understand a game where the challenges involve so much trust in other people. She's here for an HOH battle. She's not here for these weird group get a shield shit. And so, like, I'm even having the same reaction watching somebody that I know as a competitive game style player, where she's put in a slightly different situation and she's totally different. I think about those early days about, like, you guys remember when it was, like, cool to think, like, Theo Vaughn was hot because he was the guy that jumped around in a pair of boxer briefs all wet.
Right.
And so, like, it was hot. And now he's Theo Vaughn and it's a different conversation. And now we're on a list for saying his name. But, you know, the thing of it is seeing somebody like Theo on Road Rules and then seeing him go to Real World Road Rules, The Challenge, which was the original incarnation of The Challenge, which Wes is from, or best known for, because he's obviously from the original franchises. It's interesting because it is different. It's like watching Ruthie be an alcoholic mess on Hawaii and then watch her get her life together on The Challenge and just be so proud of her. It's a different show. And so, like, I will say, even seeing Danielle play this game, it's totally different.
You say that, I imagine that it is totally different, but she's doing well. Like, she's doing okay.
I don't know. There were places that I feel like I feel so badly. Kevo, would you please focus in on the other traitor's face and name? I forget her name. I feel
Carolyn.
so bad. Carolyn, thank you. She's in my Survivor sort of like
Yeah.
blind spot. I feel like the Danielle I know would be working with Carolyn to cement that the two of them are a strong structure instead of letting Bob and now Rob kind of talk over her. The Danielle I know creates power structures and unites people, and does it really backhandedly, but I'm waiting for it.
I think that's really tough when there are 25 people and then you're also part of a subset of 4. The thing where she gets onto the pontoon with Bob and is crying, and then it cuts to her confessionals and she's laughing about it. Like, she's got her own strategy, but there's not a ton you can do right now unless you're going to be a Bob, unless you're going to be the person that says, no, we're doing my thing and I'm not going to hear any arguments, which this is even getting into, like, I could see a segment producer being like, don't also have that energy, or it's going to turn into an improv problem of you guys are just no-anding each other, and it's not getting anywhere. But assuming she lasts, which, like, nobody suspects her right now, which the only reason I have a problem with that is because they also don't suspect Rob, who they didn't allow to be on the show, and then he said Rob. I would have been immediately like, okay, this is our first, of course, just Rob, because of course
feed him to a dog. Like, and Danielle is considered the best Big Brother player to never win a season in the history of the franchise, and like, Rob is considered one of the best players. Period.
Yeah, the fact that everybody wasn't immediately like, no, we specifically did not allow this guy on the show, and he's on now. Like, even if he's not a traitor, that's too weird for me. I'm just voting him off anyway. Like, that never came up again to me, is one of those things with the show where I'm like, I feel like a producer said nobody can vote for Rob, or like told whoever their character is that they got, like, hey, don't vote for Rob, like, we're gonna get there, just don't suggest Rob, and everybody got told that, because there would be no other reason to not immediately. They didn't see Wes or Derek, so like them, even I can see, like, okay, they came later, whatever.
The 3 of them had a immunity the first week.
Right, sure.
But hold on, I literally said to Kevo when Tony appeared, I literally said to Kevo, as Tony appeared in the beginning of the first episode, the first time he's weak, you have to get rid of him. He has to be gone by the end of tonight. By the end of the 3 episodes we're watching tonight, Tony has to be gone or he will win the season. They don't have a choice. They can't wait. And then that's why they ate him like chum.
Yeah, I mean, that's not the narrative that they came up with for why he left, but I think you are right. And I think that's the thing to be aware of, and also, again, that I think producers should be aware of. I would stop casting Dans and Tonys on this show. They're not...
Oh, so you think that he got Johnny like last season, where they thought Johnny was going to be a major player, and
Johnny
then
Bananas
he got cut really early. Because you know what? I had actually forgotten you saying so intensely at the beginning that they needed to get rid of Tony, and it's not that I forgot so much as I didn't really think to connect it to how swiftly all the dominoes fell against him when he was finally cut. And I think that even is why. So it wasn't framed and pointed to directly in the narrative, but I do think now that you're saying that, as soon as anyone started pointing the finger at him, it just went that quickly, because everyone does know exactly what you're saying. But for me, it's the fact that it was such a happenstance that, why didn't he just say something to Rob about getting the shield?
Oh, because he trusts Rob about as much as a 5-minute wait time at a rest stop Dunkin' Donuts in Massachusetts. You just, he's lying to you. You know the lies, and so Tony kept
whether he was the traitor or not, it was the smart thing to point out. It was weird that you didn't say anything. And that is what is so wild about that being the moment that completely hung him with the entire jury, is the fact that, that was weird. And unfortunately, the person you did it to especially was a traitor who's not going to forget to say something about it. And then the dominoes just fell.
And it's funny because, like, Nico, I like your exclamation better, like, because you can see it, and also, like, he dominates so much of the first 15 minutes of the show, and again, like, you want your Dan's, like, those guys gotta go, but that's not that. Again, that wasn't the narrative. It was, as KEVO pointed out, it all comes down to Rob saying it's weird that you didn't talk to me, which is also true. Both things are true, but it would have been really interesting to have everybody say, because the other thing is, like, not everybody is going to win the money, and you do, as much as you want to get rid of the traitor so you don't get murdered, you want to get rid of some faithful so that you're left to split a smaller pot. The genius of Trishelle and CT just kicking our queen MJ out of there, so they had to split the money from less people. That nobody brought up, like, Tony's gonna go far if we let him, and he doesn't need to, and that will mean that if we're the last two people, we're not the last free people. So let's get rid of this kind of big mouth energy sucker, kill all straight men, I think, is a good policy we should all have, just in life, but definitely on the traitors, because there's no consequences. Definitely get rid of Tony. Don't get rid of Jeremy. He's great. Ivar may have a husband, but that's a straight man. Kill him too.
Oh, you mean Ivar, who I'm going to lovingly refer to as the Cherie edit, who's not there? I don't think this man has had a single confessional.
No, he really hasn't, and I sort of kept expecting him to go home, like, because of that. But again, there also really are so many people this season. It's too many. Sam also has not had any confessionals. I think that is because he doesn't know how to string together enough words for full sentences.
Yeah, that's all of it.
But, and while we're on this photo, so I can bring this up now, the tooth situation on this show is so horrifying. Dystopian nightmare. Stepford. What's the one where Jodie Foster is on the space station? Elysium. Elysium. Any. It is just people with an installed 2 rows of poor. It's just the weirdest thing. Everybody has weird teeth. It's the only reason I'm very happy that what's her name, not Dorinda. KEVO, you just had to tell me her name. Aya.
Oh, Ion.
Hers were the most disturbing. That's why I'm glad she's gone. But I loved her otherwise. Insanely beautiful woman. I'm really stuck on her name because I was thinking about the fact that I know that there are white dude bros who would make fun of her name Ayan as Ion, but they would love a guy named Ion, I-O-N. Yes, yeah, 100%. I see that.
Yep.
Tooth situation, insane. The HD cameras on the show are also horrifying. There's no power on this earth that you could convince me to be filmed with a camera that can see into the depth of each one of my pores and every fucking mite that lives on my skin. It is horrifying and rude. And again, it was poor Ion where I saw it because her wig is just so obvious in certain scenes because it's so crystal clear.
Do you know who she looks like? She looks like my stepsister.
I've never met your stepsister, but I now I have
they
to.
Do similar makeup.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't your stepsister like 12?
No, that's my sister, and she's like 7. My stepsister is like 40 something.
Oh, okay.
Here's the story.
Yeah, I don't.
But that she went out on the joke, Real Housewives of Dubai Bye. Oh, Alan,
I know.
Dubai Alan Cumming. I don't think so.
They're all terrible, and they're only going to get worse, I'm sure.
Yes, I do think it is true that they will only get worse. Real Housewives of Dubai is a trip, man. That is not a show for the faint of heart.
So one of the big things that I'm taking from this season is I thought we were getting a little bit of a change in gameplay. They said something about people aren't going to reveal if they were traitors.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up too.
And then immediately they do.
Is it just that the traitors are gonna lie?
No, it's either that or I think he said later in the season when you get to like closer to that top 5 into that inner circle where they do that little banishment circle thing, to not reveal it.
I don't know. That was a weird thing to bring up because then immediately I would have waited and been like, at this point we're no longer revealing. because now I don't know what's happening.
Right.
Oh, poor Robin. Potomac is also not for the faint of heart.
No.
Well,
Kill this man.
yeah,
Sorry.
In Minecraft.
No, period. I'll say it right now. Just do it.
No. In
and now our
think
Minecraft.
it
channel
is.
has been permanently demonetized forever.
Tom is the worst.
I do think that the big thing with this cast is like this is a bunch of people who are coming in aware that season 2 was a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
Even if they applied before that,
Yeah,
they're
they know they're coming in to pick up the slack.
And so I feel like you're seeing a lot of people trying to be Kate. You're seeing a lot of people trying
this man who also, what I said before applies.
This beard is so sharply angled. He's like a Pixar character. It's wild.
It is very the I'm Fergus's cousin line was exceedingly funny.
Absolutely.
But everything else since then has been.
Who's the mountain man in the whatchamacallit, the claymation Rudolph movies? That's who that is.
Oh, Yukon Cornelius.
Cornelius.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yukon Cornelia. That's who that is.
That's their father.
So
That's their grandfather.
Yeah.
I kind of think it's interesting the way we're already seeing people fall off. I was heartbroken at the end of episode 1 to lose none other than Worst Cooks winner, sexiest man married to a brilliant Broadway performer, Sarah Hyland. I was devastated to lose Wells. And it was
is that he's married to Sarah Hyland?
Yes, Mrs. Sarah Hyland. It's Mr. Sarah Hyland.
Oh, huh.
And he's the bartender on Bachelor in Paradise.
Well, I knew he was the bartender in Bachelor in Paradise. I feel like if we're saying I'm Zac Efron's brother, I might have gone with I'm Haley's husband.
But you know what? That does, if you Google him, actually, it's, how like when you Google someone, it'll like autocomplete and it'll put up something under their name. It says Sarah Hyland's husband when you Google him.
Yeah, I mean, I might have gone with that.
Are we forgetting the pizza show that he hosted?
And the fact that he did win his season of Worst Cooks in America. And he called his wife and she was very unimpressed. She wanted to know if he needed anything from Target and then hung up.
Yep.
I also probably would have gone with Worst Cooks. Yeah, I wish I'd known these things.
So he didn't need this. Sorry, Wells. It was great to see you. I wanted more.
But I too really wanted more. And I guess it doesn't matter.
He's the peppermint.
Who you root for doesn't matter on this show because it's all predetermined. But I would have liked to have rooted for. I was like, he can go home too. I don't care about him. But if I had known all these other things, because I don't care about The Bachelor, and I only like that other girl from The Bachelor because she was like, I was on The Bachelor and now I'm a lesbian. But I didn't have any use for this guy except for I kind of wanted to see what his dick looked like. But now I'll wait for. God, how much of a bummer must it be to be Zac Efron's brother?
It's tough because there's some stuff that, like, without getting too into the gear of it,
there's too many D names.
I have a lot of feelings about Derek. We'll get into it later.
Ooh, cops.
But it's got to be tough to be a guy whose job is in many ways to physically mirror his brother. And when your brother can get so big, I don't think he can do his brother's body doubling anymore. And you can see that he's still a very fit man, but there's that thing where, like, you can be fit like Chris Diamantopoulos or you can be fit like The Rock. And they're very different things. And, like, I feel like a guy like Dylan, he just winds up being forgotten by the media in so many ways. I don't think he's anybody's runner-up. I don't think he's anybody's second place. I just think media treats him that way. And so when you come into this show with that, Andrew, I actually think the bigger problem isn't that they all look like the most boring, basic people ever. I think it's that most of them look like generic Brazzers models. So it's just so forgettable the way they've styled them, the way they put them in this setting, to put them in the color matching, the filters they've used on these people. It's not the people, it's the production on it.
Except for Tom. who just looks terrible all the time. But it's like
Do you know
had-
him? Did he meme I'm first to you? Is that what
no,
we're finding out?
I really
Did he jump
hate
on
him.
you?
I just really don't like him. I think he is everything that is wrong with reality TV. But when he walked in with the horrible green sweater on, I was like, oh, he's like trying to out Peacock Bob, which you're already gonna fail. And then he was like, oh, the sweater isn't working anymore. I'm going to take it off and reveal that my pits have completely flooded.
Oh no, I did see that. I don't think I got a screenshot of it, but I
Good.
did.
It's horrifying. It's a
It's
nightmare. I also love that, again, somebody has to have said you're not allowed to say Ariana, because what's her name is like, I know.
They said the name once.
Did they? Well, when what's her name says that they're friends during the roundtable, she goes, I know your ex.
It's at the beginning. He says that she's friends with Ariana, so...
Oh, okay. Well, I wish they had said the name more, but... Also, why is Wes in a varsity jacket? Not all men get the treatment.
that.
Alan still looks great. Alan in that half tartan feather corset with the tie for the challenge to pull the new contestants down looked fantastic.
Oh.
The carnival makeup will give me nightmares for the rest of my life. Yeah.
I loved trying to see if I can get any good close-ups. His opening look. Everybody's going very Oz this week. We're gonna point out some parallels on Canada's Drag Race tomorrow when we cover that. So check that out. But like this emerald here, I found that very funny.
I wonder how much you get paid to be one of those background masked people.
I hope it's as
yeah.
much as you get paid to be one of the Greek background masked people in Scream 2. But here's where I want to point the conversation. We had 3 episodes. What? I'm supposed to be pointing things. I'm in.
No, I know. No,
What?
you absolutely are. I have.
You guys,
questions
I'm
about
the
union
Drew
rules.
Barrymore of this Hollywood Squares.
Yes.
Oh my God, you
really
guys.
are.
Have you heard she's launching a new Hollywood Squares and it had to be postponed a week because of the wildfires? Not that filming the episode was messed up, but things are not so great in California. So they pushed back the debut of her Hollywood Squares by a week. But she's going to be the center square, you guys. It is so exciting.
I bet she considered not canceling it, and somebody was like, "You can't do this again." Bro. You have
She was like, "You guys, I'm not in the fire union."
I think people need good news right now.
I just want to make people smile.
So, so I'm bringing
She
it up
does.
because we had 3 episodes and
which was too many.
No, it was fine. It should have been it should have been one night, but it's
Yes,
fine.
that's what I'm saying. It's 3 hours, more than 3 hours.
We did it in
almost
2
3.5
days.
hours.
So we lost 3 people. Actually, we lost more than 3 people because we had some kills and we had some eliminations.
Yeah.
And part of what I saw happen 3 times was everybody went in with, I think it was this person. I think it was Bob the Drag Queen. You guys, it was Bob the Drag Queen. And then as soon as they get there, everybody's like, Wells must die. And like, there is something so powerful about the way a round table can eat the soul out of a room. And I've even seen it. I've seen it happen. We've done it on this show, but like, it is phenomenal when it happens on air.
I think this is another function of the fact that there's so many people.
Oh yeah.
It falls into mob mentality, not debate. Somebody said to I think Bob H said to Dylan, like, we need to work on your debate skills, because people come in with an idea and then they're garbage at arguing it and it just turns into something else. But there are just so many people did not think it was Tony. Like, so many people there didn't have Tony in mind in any way and just went group.
You know what? I would love to see that happen in like a comic book crossover.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, oh, somebody shot. I would say Xavier, but I need to pick somebody people care about. Somebody shot Emma Frost with a diamond bullet, and this time she can't be put back together. Was it Apocalypse? No, but do we currently have the power to kill him out of rage? Let's just kill him real quick.
Yeah.
And then we'll go about our day. Because that, I'm telling you guys, the minute I saw Tony, I turned to Kevo and I said, he has to be the first person they eliminate. They don't have a choice. The first time he shows weakness, he has to go. It literally needs to be he's vanquished immediately as possible. There is no choice because he's considered so powerful. Look how people fell in line behind him. That's the other danger of this show. People fall in line behind people by reputation. So if you can't bring someone down, you cult of personality until you develop your own gravity.
Which is what Bob is doing for the women. Bob and the queens are queening.
Ain't complaining. Although
no, it's hilarious. It's very funny.
I do have some feelings about the fact that if Bob is the doctor here, that last photo is the first doctor. It is like two different versions of the doctor here.
Ooh, oh my god, I love that. Oh. I wish I had the energy to make that, but I love it.
To be fair, someone, not Zach, took a very weak shot at Bob because it wasn't wrong that Bob did bring up Wells' name. That's all Bob did was bring up Wells' name. And yes, it is a traitorous move, but it's also not a traitorous move. You've heard the name Wells be thrown around, and now you want to discuss why this name is being thrown around.
It is nomenclature.
Yeah, I mean, it's Bob. Bob is playing a very smart game for Bob. I will say now that Tony is gone, I feel like you got to get rid of Wes. Or Wes is just full of shit, and it'll come up really soon. I can see that maybe you think that.
No, I don't think you want to hear it, but I think Wes is going to be the guy to get the sweatpants moment.
I actually think it's very possible. Although I think he's not, because I have seen the opportunity and it's just not happening. You gotta be able to fill out the sweatpants to have the sweatpants moment, if you know what I mean. I've watched enough Challenge and Road Rules.
That is where I think Bergie really was hoping to coast on Big Dick Idiot. Like,
yes, and really... not hoping to, did. He got quite far.
But you know what?
Well, he was Burgalicious.
Exactly.
He had help. Yep.
To be a big brother guy for a minute, I go back to Russell the Love Muscle, who was this big, trend out motherfucker who, when one time he was asked why his nickname was Russell the Love Muscle, he flat out said, because whenever anyone sees my penis, they think it's enormous. And like, that was his tagline. That was his bit. And he was still yet incredibly careful to never let it be seen in the shower cam or the shower feed ever. Trust me, I checked all the sites. But the thing about it that I specifically think about is how many guys present that way on these shows as like an artifice. And yet because Bergie understood that there was nothing else to trade on, there was no, I'm going to be able to outwit any of these people, kind of made a physicality his thing. And what's shocking to me here is Dylan, whose whole thing is, I'm a very fit guy who goes around the world doing challenges with my very fit brother. Sam, whose whole thing is, I'm a personal trainer and a dancer, and I post things on Instagram, who, by the way, also has a very famous VPL pic, and it does fill out the sweatpants very nicely. A number of these gentlemen who that's literally their trade, that's literally what they're known for, is being physically attractive, instead are trying to seem incredibly competitive because there is a certain level of alpha male testosterone that was introduced this season. Dan last season, Dan I think most guys would call soft, but is a brilliant player. When CT is a little soft. Like, he's hard, but he's CT. He's soft. You always love me, CT. He always sounds like he's a mouthful of marbles.
He's allowed himself to age out of it.
Yeah.
And not in a bad way.
at all. I don't think Jeremy. Yeah, he looks like a fucking gay newsie here. I don't think Jeremy can help but seem masculine, powerful, and confident. I don't think that Tony wants to seem anything but masculine, powerful, and confident. So you've got a lot of guys who would be looking to trade a little bit more on their cute big dick idiot status, but I don't think feel confident doing it with some of the alpha masculinity that's floating around the room.
Well, and I do think you're forgetting a little bit of Bergie's attempt to, especially later in the season, as we whittled away at people. Bergie really tried to hold some court, and
yeah, no, but it always seemed like Kwame trying to save the other 4 Planeteers. It never seemed like he was Captain America charging in to defeat the Red Skull.
I fully agree with that, but I think some of these guys who have potential for the sweatpants moment. Oh my god! Damn it!
Sorry, you said Red Skull, so
it's perfect.
If you can pull up MJ in the jeans trying to walk out of the room, I will pay you money.
Who is this woman?
If we can't have something.
Justice for MJ.
Yeah,
Bring
no.
her back for Traitors All Stars.
if we can't have something like this season, then don't even finish. We
There
don't
was
want the
just
rest
no
of it.
point. No, I think Dylan especially. It's earlier in the season because again, Tony's a Dan. Dan was doing a lot of court holding early on.
Dan's my man.
And who was the other? Peter?
Yeah.
Peter Pals. Pilot Pete.
Yeah, Pilot Pete.
Windmill.
Thank you. So Dylan,
I am not gonna kiss your ass for a rose.
Oh my god, that made me so mad just now.
Dylan,
because you're too little, baby.
Dylan is trying to have some of that energy, and be the kind of
yes,
cute heartthrob, but who won't be talked to like that. And Bergie and Pete did the same thing, but the show is still like, no, I see you in the sweatpants, and that's what we'll be pointing the cameras to. So I think he wants this, but at some point he's going to slip up and have his shirt off in the wrong place, and that's the camera's going to focus on. And then I will not be taking him seriously for the rest of the show. That's just my choice. I get to do that.
I also don't think you can combine Bergie and Pete. I think that they give a very similar energy, but I think ultimately what they give, I think Bergie is too playful, puppy.
Yeah,
and
Bergie was too
whereas
innocent for this world.
Pete was very calculating, and I think Dylan is trying to do that too.
Yeah. Sam is a wild card in that, like, there is a level of
country music sensation.
We'll talk about that tomorrow. That's not a wild card.
Sam is a wild card.
Sam Ashgari, when you start to get into low double digits for IQ points, it is kind of the same thing as the chaos that Bob is talking about. You just don't know. Like, there's no strategy. You're safe. But, like, I could see Sam making it to the end through tripping and falling into it. And in the meantime, I do think we will be getting a couple more shower scenes out of that one. God, I wonder if Dorinda personally asked to Photoshop her piece of this. I'm looking at her. She's an icon, and she is the moment.
With the gloves.
I
mean, twins right here.
What 100%.
I want to bring things back a little bit. As much as I love a good gray sweatpants moment, I am a good gray sweatpants moment.
Yeah, exactly. So don't go on Traitors.
No, I would. Man, the fact that I have kept it to one bulge pick on all of Blue Sky, but go
looking for it, audience.
December 31st. So the thing I want to point out about our 4 traitors, we have 4 traitors currently.
Right now,
we have Danielle, who is considered one of the greatest people to never win a season of her show.
Because person that's on this show kicked her off.
No, because the voting...
But no. Hold on, no. Danielle lost the vote in season 3 and was an excellent game player. And then in a later season, Brittany stabbed her in the back.
it's a complicated situation, but Danielle has never won, and it's not her fault ever. And I love my precious Danielle so much. We have Danielle, who's the greatest player to never win. We have Bob, who's already won. We have Carolyn, who I don't know enough about her survivor style. I'd love to know a little bit more about it. But she felt she was not in the same category as a Tony or a Jeremy. I know about both Tony and Jeremy. I know about Boston Rob. I don't know anything about Carolyn, so I don't know if that's that maybe Survivor does lean a little bit more male favorites, though, I knew Sandra. So it wasn't like out of nowhere for me that there were, major women on the show. I just, but so then there's also Boston Rob. So I think they made a choice to have 2 Survivor players, 1 Big Brother player, and then someone who represents every other thing.
Yeah.
Bob represents the house. I don't think they could have ever expected that Bob would be like, listen, so what I want to do is kill drag queen. I want to kill housewives.
No, you had it right
all
the first time.
housewives.
You had it right the first time.
I do too. It's so fascinating. I would have changed this by 1 person. And it's only because I don't know enough about Carolyn that I would keep her in and I would kick Rob the fuck out. I would kick Rob the fuck out of the Traitors. He cannot be one of the Traitors. This is a 43-45 situation. Right? Is that his numbers? I forget his numbers.
No, it's 45-47, right?
45-47, sure. It's that. This is too much power for a dangerous man. So I would kick him the fuck out of the Traitors. And honestly, I would put in somebody like a Dorinda, like an Ion, like a Dolores. Somebody who represents an outsider of gameplay. Because the other thing you need to consider is Bob is like a genius level IQ person who is on the forefront of legal battles, is on the forefront of motivation, of a movement, of a new idea.
What the fuck does Rob do? What does he do? What are you talking about?
Bob is those things.
Oh, okay.
So even though Bob represents this outsider of gameplay, Bob still has a powerful voice in those arenas and still has an effective ability. I would love to see somebody who's maybe a little bit less powerful and a little bit more uniquely loud in this situation. And I would love to see a housewife elevated in place of Rob. Ultimately, I might feel differently about Carolyn, but what she's provided in this first 3 episodes, I think she's really earned her place. I think she's proven that you can be a poverty without being a poverty.
Also, again, like, Rob sucks because they did the whole thing with him. If they were going to do this, I would have had him come in like Below Decks. Kate. I would have had him come in like
greatest player ever.
I would not have had him come in the first episode / second episode. And again, I don't buy that nobody was immediately suspicious of this and immediately didn't want him out, and that wouldn't be. And again, unless there's producer intervention, unless somebody's saying like, don't say anything about Rob for a little while. It just doesn't feel. It feels really ham-fisted production-y. It's not fun. It also, while Bob is, not binary male person, has been pretty male presenting. And it felt like there was a need to be like 2 women and 2 men, like, and I just would have loved to, to allow it. We don't need a Rob in the Traitors. We don't need to balance like that. There's just nothing about him that is compelling to me. On paper, I do, in action, it was compelling to me. Tony,
would you replace him, or do you think 4 is too many?
I also think 4 is too many at this time.
I get that too.
I was like, oh, holy shit, we're doing 3. And
exactly.
I would have let that sink in for a while. And because we don't, if one of the Traitors gets pulled out early, like within the next couple episodes, I'm going to have more feelings about how production plays into this. and why they might have thought they needed 4 locked and loaded early on. But yeah, at this time, 4 feels like too many. Rob feels like such the odd man out, such the one who's not really bringing anything. Carolyn, I love the analysis of Carolyn as a Parvati who is not that intolerable.
Beyond not that intolerable, I genuinely
she's
love
great.
what she brings to the turret.
Yes, but she does still have that kind of like, is this chicken of the sea chicken?
Well, can I just be honest? Like, if you and me, Teak, if you and me, when it's the
headbands
movie. If TK, you and me wound up in a room, and also
we are often in a room, Nico.
And also a third person was added to our conversation, who was a person who did not share being queer, who did not share our life experience. That's 2 Black people who have successfully navigated the worlds of social media and reality television.
Yeah.
Become motivational speakers, successes, and, have navigated multiple seasons of multiple shows.
Yeah.
And to see them be such examples of beautiful Black excellence and selflessness separately by both choosing to stay on the pontoon together. I think Carolyn is probably, I would feel like this is space that they get to have, and I'm going to represent a part of that space. I would never feel othered, but I would feel it's important to make sure their voices are heard. And I think she is walking a really beautiful line that is never trying to be like, but also I'm here over you guys. Well, and also like giving them room.
She started the show being like, I'm nothing compared to the other 2 famous survivors. So I think she's humble. Like, I think no matter what, she's got humility to her in a way that like you have to know how to navigate reality TV stuff. But when all 3 of them showed up to initially discover they were traitors, the thing I was like, oh, they're all cunty. Like, this is going to be fun. Like, this is going to be funny. And so like the common, like and
then you got Peyton Sawyer, and she's not cunty at all.
Well, the common ground that Bob and Danielle have is manyfold, including being quite cunty. But Carolyn had it too. Rob dilutes the brand, and oh my god, yes.
You guys see why me and Danielle would be best friends. We make the same faces.
Yes.
I've been talking about Danielle on this show for literally a year now. You guys can go back, check the previous Traitors episodes. This is the person I said that if you brought her from Big Brother, it would make Traitors crazy. And
I believe it will continue, because I think Bob actually could get voted out pretty quickly. I think that's kind of what they're leaning towards. But I think Danielle is going to be in this for quite some time before anybody starts to get an inkling of the fact that she can't really be trusted. And I think that I think you're spot on. Like I think she's a great person to have on here. And I also think that she's going to make it a while. And if Bob doesn't, I think it will be because Bob played the most Bob game humanly possible, which is the only thing I want. Like, I want Bob to succeed just because that's my queen, and I love her, and I want the best.
You're Misguided. That's your drag name. Everyone, welcome to the stage, Misguided.
Yeah, I mean, I want Bob to win, but I would rather Bob behave like Bob the whole time and never give me. Some of these people just melt into being on Traitors in a way that, like, I think what makes it fun is if you're yourself in this framework, not if you blend into the framework. And I think like I said, the reason I don't go for the show is when the energy is so many people being like, oh, this is all so real and so serious. And Bob just cannot be made to do that. And I love it.
I do want to say, in response to Andrew saying Miss Vanjie should be on Traitors, actually, somebody that I love as much as I love Miss Vanjie is on Traitors Canada this season.
Oh my god, yeah.
Well, TK, if you don't know, I think you should lean into things with gratitude.
Wait, is she really?
Wow. Wow! That
Wow,
is right.
you didn't know?
Hold on.
Melinda Verga is on Traitors Canada Season 3. And that is, for those who don't know, Melinda Verga is in my top 10. I don't know, I could really say she's in my top 10 queens of all time, but she's in my top 10 moments. I mean, my favorite drag
Wait, hold on.
race-
Season 2 or season 3?
3.
So she hasn't been on yet.
The one that's now or next.
Next. So yeah, it hasn't started yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Good to know.
I'm like, I would be heartbroken if I missed it.
She is one of the greatest personalities to ever be on Drag Race Canada, and I love her so much. And I am double checking. I want to be able to give you the correct season. She will be on Traitors Canada Season 2. No, she was on Traitors Canada Season 2.
Okay, so I have not seen that season, and I guess I need to.
Melinda Verga just really provided me with a very human experience. I've gone on and on and on about how she's one of my favorite queens from Canada. However, she was not my favorite queen her season, and my favorite queen her season did win, so everything's great. I got what I wanted. That is where I feel like that is one thing I do want to say about Traitors that I love so much. Traitors is a show about people who always get what they want, not getting what they want over and over and over and over and over and over again. And that is amazing. Guys, they lose the challenges. Kevo, I cackle fucked because when you put up that map of them losing that boat challenge, essentially, not getting all the money, not doing well because of the selfishness. It was fascinating to see how many people are willing to win less money, assuming they'll get to the end, instead of let's earn the most money possible and see what happens with shields. Because if you actually played a good game, you don't have to worry. But so much of it is about turning tide of personality against people at the last moment that it becomes a game of hyper manipulation.
I love seeing them not do well in challenges early on because I feel like it's really easy to make these sacrifices for the greater good when you're doing really well. But if you're not doing really well and you're getting people murdered, then you're going to see a lot fewer people wanting to jump on that grenade. And we're already seeing that within the first week by the end of episode 3.
I completely agree. Now, I want to go over something briefly while we are here because this is supposed to be a Traitors Season 3, episode. So let's discuss what has happened. In Season 3, Episode 1, the Shield went to I don't know how to read it here. This is a terrible website. I don't okay, wait. Oh my god, so many people had shields in episode 1. It really just is that many people.
Well, yeah, because they all Yeah.
So Brittany, Carolyn, Chriselle, Sierra, Dylan, Gabby, Ivar, Jeremy, Nikki, Tom, Tony, and Wells all had shields. There was no banishment and no vote. I do want to point out, though, that we have not yet talked about Gay Royal, and that's funny for us.
We did. We
Only
talked about
briefly.
Yeah, because he barely has been in it at all.
His name is Mountain Stick, and he's gay. How do we not love this?
That's a British name. That's a British
word.
name.
He's not in this season.
Yeah,
I'm surprised he's even there.
He's not in it. He's also
the only
really boring.
The only noteworthy thing about Ivar is that I feel like that is Bob's next target, and Bob is planning ahead already to try and hoist.
I will top him.
Well,
or that.
There's always been a couple votes for him when they've there's people point to him as being a little sus, which we all know he's fine, but yeah, I don't know. He feels very. I mean, he's a royal, so he really does feel cursed. But
well, they're all cursed. Not a lot of new genes coming in there. So.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, and also when you share bloodlines. Speaking of not a lot of genes, a lot of curses just run through bloodlines. So,
these are both of the things that I'm saying. Yes, everybody's on board with me here.
The cross hex thing just becomes overwhelming.
I also, that they gave him so little screen time to be yeah, I was married to a woman, and then like we got divorced, and now I'm married to a man, which is like controversial.
I
for
love this
divorce.
David Bowie accent. You should do David
That
Bowie
is a
for
little
your
David
Snatch
Bowie.
Game character.
I know RuPaul would get angry with me.
You're stupid.
She would hate it and me, and it would be a real problem.
But
But
yes, and I hate it. You.
yeah, that's 100% what would happen. Although now that maybe I do need to workshop this a little bit. I'm gonna pray on this.
Bad. Really, it's
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like Ivar. I don't
baggy
trust him.
Stardust.
I like it.
Ooh,
Okay.
Yeah.
So then episode 2, the shield went to Dylan, Jeremy, and Tony. But I do want to be really quick. R.I.P. Let's dedicate a moment of gratitude to Dorinda, who I would have liked to have gotten to know. I assume if you are on a Housewives of the Northeast, you're disgusting, because I'm not on a Housewives of the Northeast, and I'm disgusting, and I aspire to your level of disgusting. So I just want to say you were probably a nightmare like me inside.
She is.
Cue Lil Kim and me singing Freak Like Me. And
the three of you should do a song together, and pulling from one of Dorinda's most quotable quotes, it should be called "Put an easy pass on your vagina."
Okay, now I'm really sad about this loss.
Dorinda,
like to give
Nico
everybody-
Action, Lil Kim. I'm sold on this song. I'm just throwing it out there.
I just want to give everybody a moment to say goodbye to Dorinda Nacho Cheese or Dorinda Ranch or Dorinda Extreme Spicy, whatever version you subscribe to.
Oh, I thought you were making a medley joke. Okay, I hate what you did.
Okay. Well, that's fine because I don't care and fuck you.
Fair. If you're asking me how I'm doing with the fact that Dorinda has been kicked out of the show, I would say not well, bitch.
Well, okay, the truth is I was just showing a strong front. I was devastated when you didn't like my joke, and now I'm rushing to your 8 housewife style. What can I do? What can I bring you? Can I send an edible arrangement? Are you okay?
Again, to quote Dorinda, I would say if you would like to help me out, you could make it nice. You could do it nice.
I would love. Can I just quickly say I would love either Teresa or Carolyn from Jersey Housewives to be on the show?
Yes. Well, Teresa was just on House of Villains.
I feel like if Countess Luann showed up, people would just literally start firing arrows.
Countess Luann would never be caught dead on the show, which would make it even funnier if she somehow got on here. But
Cyndi Lauper's friend.
Teresa would be amazing. I'm very curious to see if there is any House of Villains to Traitors pipeline, because most of especially this most recent season of House of Villains are all people that I would like to be on Traitors, including Candy Muse, who would last exactly 30 seconds. They would just call a vote.
Back.
They would literally be like, I'm terrified that you are actually going to murder one of us. We have to get you off of this island.
You think I'm a traitor?
I did correct myself. Bad New Yorker, bad Housewives Watcher. I said Caputo. I meant Judice.
Yeah.
But you all knew what I meant. We all know what Teresa. We all know flipping tables.
I don't think you said Caputo. You just said Teresa.
I kind of mumbled it.
Okay. I just heard Teresa and I knew exactly who you were talking about.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I think she would be phenomenal on this.
I grew up in New Jersey. Every one of my Italian friends has flipped the Monopoly board at one point or another. And I say that as a human person who has flipped the Monopoly board one time or another.
For me, it was... do you guys remember Tornado Rex?
Was it a game?
No.
Yeah, and he was a Tasmanian devil, and the board was sloped, and you would spin him from the top, and he would go down.
Yes, because I used to say that I thought Beyblade was a ripoff.
Yes, it was. It is.
Yes. And no one believed me.
Yeah, you fucking kids today don't understand. We already had Beyblade at home, and it was called Tornado Rex. It was my favorite game, except when I lost, and then in fact, I did flip the table.
It's everybody that thought that 1313 Dead End Drive was so unique. No, it was basically Mousetrap with murder. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you don't know what our lives were like back then.
As one of these kids, Beyblade is way better than this. I don't know what the frick this is.
Can I tell you that
Wait.
hi, muscular, handsome monkey, wave high. That young man right there. How old are you, sir?
I'm 27.
He literally stops in Walmart or Target or any place that sells them and checks every Beyblade.
No, it's not Beyblade. It's Bakugan. As
Oh,
I
it's
slowly-
Bakugan.
I have to look at the Bakugan as I slowly just sleep.
I
Are you
can't.
trying to find the
actually-
one that Moses used to part the Red Sea?
I walk up and down and check literally every Lego set, and I'm like, okay, poor Kevo. He hears me go, the pricing on this is terrible. This has gone up in price. This used to be blue and green instead of brown and gray, and now it's ugly.
Did I tell you the Brandon Sanderson one finally hit 10,000 on Lego Ideas?
Wow, did it?
Yeah, it's never going to happen. But anyway, this game was great, and Teresa Giudice would be a phenomenal Traitors contestant. That's where we left off to go here.
In a weird way, that actually does segue into the point that I was trying to make. In that this show is like Jenga. And the thing that I am most nervous about losing her for is that she was such a strong personality right out the gate and among such a huge crowd. And it's really hard to find such a strong personality among the faithful specifically to be this kind of wild advocate. And so I think the thing I am most, I guess, nervous about losing her this early is who will step up and fill that void, if anyone can, especially among the faithfuls. Because like we've said, we're not sure about Dylan. He might Pete, and that's not great. But she was really exciting, and I thought she was really cool.
Okay, I'm using this as an opportunity to break in and say we're going to go on to the next thing. Okay, so Dorinda, missed you, love you. Jojo, do you have anything to say about Dorinda?
I was so excited that she was there. They obviously didn't know it. I don't think any of the traitors were in the room. But I think if they were, are there any, the traitors in the room with us right now? I think if they were, they would have seen Dorinda's fight and kept her, because everybody talking about the breakfast, which my favorite thing is the breakfast. They will press the eggs, get the eggs. They were talking about how they were really suspicious of her. She was a little fiery. She was, very passionate and angry at the situation that led to this. That they were really suspicious of her, and she probably would have been an easy out if they were able to pounce on it. But bye, Dorinda.
Bye, Dorinda.
Endlessly quotable. She just is the absolute best. And there are so many of the classic housewives that, and it's why I jumped immediately to Teresa, because I think the original like New York, New Jersey, and Beverly Hills casts, they have like a slightly timeless quality to them. Like I know we're never getting Countess Luann, but Bethany Frankel would be another one that I think would be terrible / amazing. I really think that, and she's a later addition to the cast of Beverly Hills, but I could see Lisa Rinna doing Traitors and being absolutely phenomenal at it. I don't know. I have a particular love for the Housewives, so I was kind of bummed to lose Dorinda so early.
Yeah, I definitely see that.
Just waiting for NICO to come back.
Yeah.
So one of the big things that I'm really, I think curious about as we finish out this first episode and think about our traitors, our eliminated faithfuls, the component that I was really excited about was if you were faithful or traitor when you were eliminated. And now it's, I don't know, TK, I was so glad that you were caught by that as well, because it really threw me off. I thought that was going to be a component of the gameplay this season, not knowing if somebody was faithful or traitor. But the more I thought about it, I guess it is such a soundbite. What did Janelle say? I'm a fucking faithful, you idiots. Like, you know, it's such an important part of the show. It becomes such a soundbite. But despite how important that soundbite has become to the show, I think it would have affected gameplay in a successful, significant way if Wells had just said, all right, well, guys, good luck. Was I faithful? Was I traitor? Here's what I'll say. The game's worse off without me now. Peace out, and left. If everybody had a sort of Drag Race exit line instead of faithful or traitor, what could that do? You know, one of the things I've joked about with everybody on this show is if I ever got eliminated on Drag Race, my exit line would be, listen, to the one of you who knows what this is about, she is talking about you. I promise you, she has said everything you think she has. She's gunning for you. She is trying to mess with you. She's in with the producers. You have to do something about that. Okay, I gotta go. But it's you. It's you that she's coming for. And then just run off. And when I get backstage and be like, I don't fucking know. And then just put on the board, it's for you. You have to do it. You're the only one who knows. And then like leave.
That gets threatening.
You're right. She does think that about you.
Truly.
Hide in her dressing room.
It's what I'm saying, you guys. So that's where I think that this is sort of a weird opportunity that the show could have taken to do something really dramatic early on. Jonah, I'm so glad you also had something to say that represented a response to that they had said that maybe it was a little bit later in the season, but I would have loved it from right away.
Oh, I think it's okay, not to be the Gen Zer, but one of the ways to make the very popular social deduction game Among Us a little bit more challenging and a little bit more fun is to remove the ability to tell the game telling you who was ejected and what they were. You could just have it be blind ejections, blind eliminations, and then you don't know. And then you have a lot to kind of figure out and try to think about. And I think that adds a lot more deduction to the game if you actually remove their ability to know who was a faithful, who was not. Because I think the only way you should know someone is faithful is to get murdered.
Yeah, because when you're eliminated, they don't say if you were a faithful or a traitor. You're just gone. And so that's part of where the gameplay has always been not exactly in I guess because you can't really eliminate a traitor readily, but I think we've even seen where traitors have had like real life things, or maybe it was all faithful last season who had to leave for personal reasons. But what if a traitor had to leave for personal reasons? They just try and dump it off on the elimination, but like, or the murdered, but like, what do you do? And
well,
so like,
that's what I wondered too about if somebody had stepped forward and shook Alan's hand and invited Rob to be on that season. How would that have continued to play out? Obviously, they had the two backups, so they were always there to play into it anyway.
They also could have kept the eliminated person and had them come back as a traitor.
Yeah, they still can. They still, who knows? Who knows what they're going to do?
I would love
weird.
it if there was a secret separate castle and it was like para-traitors and they were all getting funneled into this castle and they were like slowly piling up. And then eventually once there were 5 of them, one's the secret secondary traitor. I don't know. I'm not trying to make everything weird, but like there was too much to mine out of these personalities to never get them again once you eliminate them, because you can only really bring back 1 or 2, maybe for an all-stars, but for an all-stars, we're at 3 seasons. How many all-stars can you take from each season? Unfortunately, you can't really bring back Kate except as host. And like, even then she'd not make a great host. So I want to kind of bring us back to the list for a moment. Wells. Like we said earlier, KEVO and I follow Wells around. Jonah follows Wells around. He's filed several restraining orders. And so, no, I'm kidding. We watch many of
his grandmother.
His grand Wells, as it were. No, we just follow several of his programs, but certainly not Bachelor in Paradise. The program we care the most about of his is ironically his wife's. And it's really funny because if you know anything about Sarah Hyland, she had a really complicated real life situation where like her real life boyfriend was abusive and like physically like trapped her and like attacked her. And he had been an actor in an episode of Modern Family even. And Wells was a beacon of safety after, you know, and I'm sure there were other factors. I'm not saying this man saved her. Sarah Hyland saves herself. But Wells is a part of a story that always feels really beautiful for an actor that I've really attached a lot of sentiment to. So
he asked permission from Claire and Phil from the show to propose to Sarah Hyland.
Because he knows how much they meant to her. And so he's just such a good man. And like he endlessly talked about his family when he was on Worst Cooks. He just really strikes you as a guy you want to root for. Losing Wells kind of, when you lose somebody cool early in a season, like we watch a lot of baking challenge shows, and when you lose like the out of nowhere super buff hot guy who wears the tight jeans, you're always like but when it's is it cake and it's Johnny Cakes, it doesn't matter. He's sitting right there the whole time and he's just so cute. But like losing Wells early on, I kind of wondered if I was going to check out, but I knew they'd given me such amazing traitors I didn't care. But losing Wells was a slap in the face. This is a character I care. A character. God, I'm so sorry, man. You're
personality.
A real person. Yeah, but it's a contestant, and that's the word I mean.
Player.
It's produced contestant player. It's not real person Wells, who I care about. It's produced contestant player because the real person didn't die. He didn't get Squid Gamed. He didn't get Hunger Games. He didn't get Battle Royale. You know, this is... He goes home to his incredible doe-eyed wife and their beautiful family as she stars in a Broadway show. No one's worried. What was that, JoJo?
She'd be in the Bambies.
She'd be in the Bambies. Again, I called them the boogers because they were just they were acting so snotty. And so, and like, I don't think Raja's ever made a mistake. So, in her entire life, she's so perfect. I love her so much. Oh my God, I can't even explain it. But the big thing here for me is I would love to get a sound off on Wells, who I just think is a charming personality, though he is from a dumb franchise. As is the baking guy I just mentioned, who, guys, funny story, hot older boyfriend. Anyway, you know.
I think my top sound off is just I'm not even sure how it happened. It all just happened so fast, but I think it is one of those things where it wasn't a landslide majority the way that it ended up being with Tony. It was, you know, one of many, and he just ended up getting the most votes, and that is how this happens a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's not a ton to say. Like, there's going to be some really stupid mistaken eliminations, and it's always really funny early on in the show when you're like, just numbers wise, you're probably not likely to be getting the traitor unless you have some amazing piece of evidence. Unless you really got somebody somehow, you just probably don't have it. And it's got to be somebody, and you know, sometimes it's the cute, innocent looking dude who really does not have a lot to go on. I will miss him. I thought he could potentially be some fun, but I probably would have rather kept him and lost Dylan. And by probably, I mean, I definitely would have, but I think they have very similar people vibes. So that Dylan is still there. The energy doesn't really feel super lost.
Bet on it. Hold on. I'm so sorry. I don't milk cat dog.
Yeah.
I don't know who you are, but does Monet need to be here? Yes. Monet needs to be everywhere. There is no way Monet does not need to be.
No. Monet doesn't need to be here. Monet just needs this as proof that Bob gaslights her.
I've written songs for Monet. Like, as a songwriting, all the music in the background tonight has been me. You guys can check it out on my new SoundCloud EP coming out. Definitely check it out. But I've written songs for Monet, Girl Call Me. I've written songs for Saphira, Girl Call Me.
Milk Cat Dog. The one that
dogs
you
who are
just
genius.
suggested, I think Willem would be the one to be on here as an actor and a delusional human being.
I would put Alaska on before I put Willem on, and the only reason is because I think Alaska's love of not breaking the artifice, even when having a psychological breakdown, would produce some unforgettable round tables, whereas Willem would literally claw a bitch's eyes out at the round table because she's always so real.
To me, Willem would be a lot like Bob.
Fascinating. I just
yeah.
see her as so real. Like I see her kind of like the way I imagine Shannon Doherty would have been in a fight in 1997. R.I.P. One of the greatest goddesses of all time. It's Shannon Doherty and Marilyn Monroe.
I love that read. No, I don't see Willem as real at all. I see Willem as very delusional and silly and stupid and smart in equal measures and weaponized in different ways at different times. The reason why I just wouldn't want Monet is because sometimes Monet is very relatable, very charming. She is very funny and very one of us, but oftentimes in like a debate setting and like a discussion setting, it all goes out the window for Monet. And I don't know. I don't know that I would love Monet's play style for this particular show. And similarly, Alaska, I don't know. I find myself lately feeling like Alaska takes herself seriously when I want her to be laughing and is laughing when I would like her to be serious. I don't know. Willem just seems like the right kind of chaos goblin for this particular show. And it's funny because I think we're going to see a RuPaul's Drag Race contestant every season from now on. And I'm just always going to be curious to see who it is and what the thinking was. Plain Jane, I could see, being another one who's just absolute horrifying chaos goblin.
I wonder if we'll see more, perhaps someone from like Dragula or something else just to compete with Canada, who is already making sure to include one every season. Let's beat Canada, guys.
I'd put Gottmik out there. I think Gottmik has like this sort of like. It's funny because do you know what energy Gottmik has? And it's so fucking stupid. And TK, I'm so sorry to exclude you with this reference in some ways, but it's such a claim to fame energy. Gottmik has. I mean, but you watch it for us, but you love I'm kidding, but like you know what I mean. Like it's like claim to fame is something I enjoy almost as much as Traitors. But it's terrible famous people, and what can Gottmik say? I'm friends with Paris Hilton.
No, she's a RuPaul's Drag Race contestant.
No, but it's about being famously connected. That's the problem with
like related,
Yeah, so like Gottmik, the show that I think he would do best on as a real person, is a show that he doesn't have the credentials for, maybe. But I would put Gottmik on Traitors for sure. I think Gottmik has a spirited vibe that would do really well in a room full of real people.
Do you think this one was offered claim to fame and was like, no, I want to do Traitors. People know who I am.
I wondered that too. I absolutely was like this. I don't know why he is not on claim to fame.
It might be too obvious. People, if he is on a show, it might be.
No, I know it actually is, but
I don't. I would be very embarrassed to go on a show like Traitors with.
Can you guys imagine? What about Frankie Grande trying to?
Hold on! Oh my god! On which one?
Yes, but Frankie's not a bad Big Brother player.
Frankie, I think, is in the new
Don't give me that peanut butter
Danger movie. I don't know. Is that the one that he's in? He's in one of them.
I don't know. I think Celebrity Big Brother is a very different game than Big Brother, because one of the things about Big Brother versus Celebrity Big Brother, which is okay. Okay.
Is this too deep a conversation to be getting into I'm just kidding.
We can make it a wind down conversation for sure. One of the things about Traitors that's a little bit different than a lot of other similar shows is that we do come with preconceived notions about some of these people in different ways. I think that a lot of us understand that Bob is an outspoken personality from within the Drag Race community. Understand that outspokenness refers to her involvement in advocacy, championing rights in minority communities and protests, and being an educator for those who don't even realize they need it. We see all of that as people within the community for Bob. So when we come to the show, that's what we come for. But the general public sees Bob the drag queen. Oh, she's fabulous, isn't she? Look at that. I think they say on the internet that she says purse first. She likes to come into the room holding a handbag. And
she booted something, all right.
Down the house. So, like, one of the things that I think you wind up having is the para relationship between contestants and audience. The people that are living this have one set of expectations because they have a different understanding who some of these people are. Tom being, I guess, Ariana Grande's ex. Is that the Ariana? No. Who is it?
Ariana Maddox.
Oh, that other one. Sure. I didn't have any idea because I care exactly this much.
They're both on Vanderpump Rules.
That's
they?
the chick who was in Chicago.
Yes.
Good for her. She got a continued stay as soon as her block went on sale and the reviews came in. She did a very good job. Very admirable. Congratulations.
She's apparently great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a wild year for her. It's been a wild 365 days. And yeah, I mean, like the reason I hate him so much is because I would not have even done this show given where he was at. I just think it's weird to show up and be like, hey, what up?
I think what's really weird is that they didn't give him the same makeup that they gave everybody else for the confessional, and they've made him look less flattering than they've done for other people. This is not the same kind of makeup job everybody else got. So,
good work, makeup artist. You're the real hero.
I do want to also point out that we need to say goodbye to two other people. We had Ion eliminated via Traitors decision, which, what a bummer. And then the banishment was, as mentioned earlier, Tony. One of the things that really surprised me about everybody being like, well, Ion makes it really seem like it's Bob, was like, even Bob was like, no, eliminating her is brilliant because it does not point to me. And other people were like, no, it so doesn't point to you that it does. This is a game where people are able to convince themselves of anything they want as long as the dynamic speaker is behind it. And that's something that I think is a little bit different than either Survivor, Big Brother, The Challenge, any of those. Because something that this round table offers that no other show offers is the power of commanding almost like a filibuster. There is this concentrated ability to charge the conversation back and forth, where I'm fascinated to know if everybody in the roundtable really has forgotten the first name that came up when the roundtable began, or if it's clever editing. But it always seems like the first name of what's inevitably two or three is forgotten by the time the votes come up and only comes in with 2 or 3 votes maximum. The power that this game puts in a convincing conversation is designed for a certain level of speaker. And as somebody who prides himself on the words he chooses and the way he commands himself, this game offers a psychological element that I think very few other games can provide.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you're really right. I mean, and I think it's kind of unstudied and identified what exactly that psychological element is.
I do think it's cult of personality. I really do think it is the ability to convince people by virtue of how powerfully you speak and the vibe you give.
And part of me sometimes even feels like the physical challenges are just not even necessary, but I think they are even necessary to that element of gameplay and how they exhaust you, you know? And they affect your relationships outside of just this part of the game.
Yeah.
You know, as we wind this episode down, I do want to think for a moment about the characters. Oh, God, I did it again. I do want to think for a moment about the contestants that we've lost, because again, real people, but they are not actually being killed in this castle.
We don't know that. I don't think I've ever seen Miles again.
That's a fair fact. I don't know that I've seen any of these people. No, Kevo,
Well,
flash
fair.
a picture of us with Bob after the show was filmed. But the big thing for me with this season as we're going in is I am so excited by the way they're putting in exciting twists and exciting turns. One of the twists, man, that is just moments before I became unforgettably drunk. But one of the things that I'm really excited about is this go to the wine cellar and kill people in a book thing. I love that they saw the magic that worked in season 2 and they're trying to make it bigger. Something that happened when KEVO and I graduated. We graduated from the same college program, and it was at a major concert venue where we had our graduation, and it was one of the actors, I want to say, from CSI, and he, in our graduation speech, said, I want you to write down your dreams. And we had
There were props
index
under
cards
every
and golf pencils taped to
in a
every
little baggie. Yeah.
We wrote down our dreams, and he goes, okay, now I want you to double them. And my dream was already beat Galactic Empire and crush planets with my shoe. So double that? I don't think so. You dream bigger. But he really sort of I bring it up because one of the things that winds up happening is you try to project bigger and bigger, and you try to surprise people by how you say to be bigger. He was like, okay, you wrote down your biggest, best dream ever. Now I want to challenge you to think about how it could be bigger. What made season 2 so powerful and so cool and fun was seeing the Traitors often struggle to work together, not just because of the way they were different players, but because of the ways that the challenge asked them to work independently, yet come together conceptually. Here, I feel like we're seeing that next step and next phase of the idea. It really depends on how many people heard Bob and Danielle and Rob and Carolyn in the wine cellar. If it really was 2 or 3 people, well, I don't know. Then,
True.
God, it's going to be so awkward watching multiple episodes of them being like, we know the people we need to keep eliminating over and over again. Fuck it, they keep getting shields. I don't know. We got to figure out a way around that. But if that really was just the fake out that I think it was, like a certain lever pulling device we'll be talking about tomorrow, then I think we're doing okay. Nice job, Kevo. Great advertising. You are the world's greatest billboard on I4. But one of the things that I really do think we could be seeing is a great idea built a little bigger than the format can handle. As it is, I am kind of worried about 25 traitor or faithful in the house at once. That's a lot of people, man. So I really do hope that I don't misunderstand how this is coming together. And if I get what I'm looking for from this, people were going by the wine cellar, they heard voices, but not exactly as loudly as it was projected to be sounding, then good, then I'm in. Otherwise, I do want to see these 4 traitors go home for being sloppy. Just absolute slop yobs. I don't know why I go there first, but, slop yobs. What do you guys think as we wind down this, our first, I'm sure, episode of Traitors for the year?
I'm very curious about what could happen if they really lost somebody due to incompetence and not, just kind of guessing and people being like, I think I have all the evidence, but somebody clearly being like, no, they walked out of a locked room and it was these 2 people. Is
this Bob's I'd like to keep the mask on moment?
Yeah, kind of like something that's just so glaringly okay, you can't come back from that. That would be interesting to see because we just don't ever really get that. And it's always just oh, like, I guess it could have been Dan. It might not have been Dan, but Dan got voted out. And yes, he did turn out to be a traitor, but there was no smoking gun. For as far as the votes were concerned, it could have been anybody. They really had no idea. And I'd be very curious to see something where it's just like, no, it's so obviously is you, or like somebody overhears one of the people being like, nobody knows that I'm a traitor or something. And it's just like, that's not anything you can come back from. That would be really interesting to me, only because, again, the production on the show is so slick that there are times where I'm just like, it feels set up.
I get that.
I just want to break that artifice a little bit.
Yeah, I would like to see that too. I don't think you need to rely on it. I think that there is enough on the show that you don't need to manufacture extra drama on top of it.
But, I think even then, part of what we continue to see is a faltering in the divisions that the producers think will automatically fall into place. They're like, the Survivor people will go with the Survivor people, and the Big Brother people will go with the Big Brother people, and I think all of the Bravo people will go together. That is not what happened this season. Even if it did happen predominantly in 1, a little bit in 2, that's not what happened here. And so I'm really excited to see as that continues. Jonah, one of the things that I love so much is that I would love to show you 5 specific seasons of Big Brother, and then 4 ancillary seasons of Big Brother, and then 2 seasons of Big Brother spinoffs, including the Christmas season, if that's okay. But beyond that, I think one of the things that you come with is a general sense of meme culture that allows you to engage with a number of these people sort of like culturally. You knew things about Danielle earlier this episode, having never seen an actual episode of Big Brother, I think, at all.
I watched, funny enough, about half of Derek's season before I had to tap out.
Oh my God, Derek is so fucking annoying. Okay.
So, I'm familiar enough with Big Brother. I know I got into more of it a little bit randomly. There's literally just a singular person's videos that I watch, but it's like how this person won their season, and then he goes by episode, and I'm like, oh, this is great. I literally get everything. I understand everything that's going on.
Yeah,
I love that.
Good way to go.
It's a best parts version. The truth is, some of these seasons of Big Brother are 32 to 38 episodes, and some of them are 90 minutes, and it's just so hard. And then if you're not watching the After Dark footage and you're not getting a best of the feed, you're just getting references to it, and then sometimes people are talking about it, and you really have to go on the internet to talk about anything that they blurred out or that they blocked out, and all of a sudden the cam goes dark, and now you got to go out and find out why the cam went dark. It can be so involved. I don't want to be a stalker, but that was something that KEVO's mom and I had really in common, was that we psychotically loved Big Brother and wanted to follow the feeds obsessively.
Well, and something I would even liken this back into your arena with is kind of like comic book characters, where they have so many appearances across so many titles, and sometimes you just want the digest version of their origins if all you want to watch is something like this when they're in it, and understand what their history is for that. And I think it's really fascinating how that culture and all of the footage it collected over the years, and the way that it started feeds into this new YouTube culture and this new digest culture, where you can just sort of give people the recap of a season like that.
I love that. That's a great way to go out. Hopefully we recapped the first 3 episodes a little bit. I think we did spend about 25 minutes on the possibility of high quality VPL. But other than that, I think we had a pretty on topic episode, and we just miss you, Berkey. We'll miss you forever. But the other thing I do want to say is that there is no way to predict who's going to make it to the end. There are so many twists and turns, and they introduce such weird devices that wind up it's so low you have to take off the Chiron.
I did.
It blocks out the possibility of predicting a winner so early on. it makes it such an important thing to follow the episodes week to week that this is a show where I'm a little bit disappointed that we don't get bonus like a Tuesday, Thursday, because that is something I would do for Traitors more than perhaps Big Brother. But end of the day, I think what I'm really hoping for from this season is something involving the eliminated contestants. The eliminated contestants provide so much of what I was looking forward to with this show, whether it's Dorinda, who I came to enjoy immediately this episode, or Wells, who I came with a multi-year love of. I was so looking forward to some of the people we lost early on, and I do recognize the powerhouse that Tony is, that I would love to see these eliminated contestants do something later on in the show, whatever capacity it may be. And I'd love to hear what everybody else is thinking. Jonah, how about you? And then where can everybody find you?
Traitors is so fascinating because, like you said, there isn't a way to really identify who is or isn't going to win. I think sometimes you can identify people who are a little bit stronger in terms of narrative gameplay sense, where they're a little bit more important to the overall story that this season is trying to tell. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to win or make it far. But in the same vein, sometimes people they're saving people a little bit more for when they do have those big moments, when they do have those big swings. I kind of think about John from last season, who wasn't really like the biggest game player, but he made it decently far until they gutted him. Again, he didn't win, but that was just because he wasn't part of the smoking crowd.
You mean Proto Mountbatten?
I mean Trishelle.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I want you to know, I think you are one of the most duplicitous people.
Villainry deserves to be punished. Everything he said. And then him going upstairs.
Bedrooms are upstairs, John.
Bedrooms are upstairs, John. Yeah, we gotta go to bed. God, this show is so stupid. It's so much fun, and I love how much Alan loves this show, and that makes me happy. So
Traitors.
Traitors. I do love that. I guess we're getting a quota. I guess because we're in Scotland, we need to have a UK representative every season now. I guess. First we had John, and now we have Ivor. So I guess British people are welcome too. Put that on a t-shirt, I guess. And if you want to follow me talking more about British people, I guess, you find me online at Peak Jonah.
Kevo, as our producer extraordinaire, I think one of the things that this show represented for you, in my eyes, was a huge step into competitive reality television as opposed to watching, like more, let's say, talent challenge based stuff.
Yes.
I would love to know what you're hoping for from this season, who you'd like to see in the end, and where everybody can find you along with the broadcasts we have coming up.
Yes. Well, and it's funny you should say that, and it's funny you should say about eliminated competitors. If everyone wouldn't mind something that is something that was a spoiler from the trailer for season 3, something that I am excited to see in season 3 that I think we will all be very excited for is a reappearance from certain competitors. This was in the trailer. Kate, and look at the headband, bitch.
Oh, headband girlie is back.
So it looks like we're going to get an appearance in some challenge this season. And the fact that this is what they were willing to put people in put in the trailer to get people excited for this season. And we've already seen so much in the first 3 episodes. So many twists, so many surprises. I am really hopeful for what we have coming, and I am so happy that this is something that we have all decided to come together and cover. I'm really glad that it has crossover with our regular drag coverage. There's a lot of really amazing drag queens performing on a lot of amazing reality television competitions right now, and I'm very excited to see how Trinity is doing over on Worst Cooks, which we mentioned earlier. So I think it's going to be a great season. And if you want to check out our coverage tomorrow of the continuing premiere RuPaul's Drag Race season 17, as well as whatever updates we have to mention on the new season of Canada. You can check that out. We have the link in our comments, and you can check it out on our YouTube channel or wherever on our socials, which you can check it on our link tree. I think you're muted. I know, it's so rare.
Thank you. And I can't wait until we come back tomorrow to cover all of that. But until then, TK, where can everybody find you online? And what do you hope to get from the season? And as somebody who maybe, and I say this with love, wants to kick some of the competitors occasionally, what is it that keeps you coming back to this show that you were excited to get on here and cover it with us?
You can find me at TK Accidental on all your socials. I have no hopes for what to get out of the show. You should not come to something like Traitors hoping to get anything out of it. You should just accept what it gives you, which could be anything. Despite thinking that, no, I'm not going to say it. I am hoping to see Bob make it very far. I just think it'd be really fun. I love the energy Bob is bringing to the show. We had fun with it last season, and there was no reason to think we wouldn't have fun this season. But like I said, I was not the most into it of the four of us. And there's a lot that I was just like, this is a bit, and Bob really addresses so many of my concerns with it. So I'm in it really to follow Bob. I hope they make it really far and are a really great competitor. Other than that, I'm interested to see what footage they get of Sam. That could be a very funny one. Other than that, I don't know. I'm not super compelled by anybody, kind of Danielle, but just because you like her. Definitely not Rob. Carolyn's fun, but I don't really care about her. And I guess now I'm super interested to see what Kate and Parvati are going to be showing up for. I like the black and white look they're doing. And, I'm just hoping Parvati will come and tell us about her line of headbands. And, I'll get on QVC and buy a set for myself. So, NICO, who's your contestant of choice? What's one prediction that you have about what's coming up? And which of the male contestants do you think you could beat in a fight?
I love this. Favorite contestant to see make it to the end. You know what? Honestly, I think I would like to see Danielle make it to the end, but I know that's probably pretty unlikely. I'm so excited about the beat in a fight question. What was the middle one?
I don't even remember anymore.
Okay, well then, one prediction I have for the season is that somebody who has not yet been announced is going to yet be entered into the contestant pool. And then who do I think of the male contestants I could probably beat in a fight? And I say this without any disrespect, probably the royal guy, not because he doesn't know some really cool chokeholds, but because I think he's at an age where his bone density is a little bit down, and I'm pushing 245 comfortably, so I don't osteoporosis be damned. So
he's into choking.
They all are all the royals.
Until somebody wants to let me know how to get in touch and make that happen, you guys can check me out at NICO Action, NICOACTION. If you guys want to check out my music, and that's the stuff playing in the background all episode long, that's NICO Action Music, NICOACTIONMUSIC on YouTube and SoundCloud. If you guys want to check out more about this show, that's HTML, X is for podcast, and X is for show. Additionally, 3 things you guys can do for us: like, comment, and subscribe on any of those feeds. But 3 things you guys can do for yourselves: you guys can, number 1, stay safe. Number 2, you guys can be brave. It's a crazy, crazy world out there, but we love who you are. Number 3, you guys can evolve daily. Who you were yesterday, amazing. Who you are today, incredible. Who you are tomorrow, that's the dream. We can't wait to see it. So until then, stay strong, stay faithful, and stay a traitor, and we'll see ya.